The New York Jets.
Let's do it.
I remember saying they could be a top 5 team by the end of 2023 or the end of 2022, right? And they lost the last 6 games of the season. Finished with 7 wins and will move into this year's draft after a 5-2 start with the 13th overall pick, a second in the top 50. They only have 6 picks this year, and they don't have much cap space either. Some key free agents: Quincy Williams, Connor McGovern, Lamarcus Joyner, and Quan Alexander. Oh boy, J-Ray. What is the move for this Jets team to finally, with this elite defense they've developed over the last year, and Breece Hall coming off the torn ACL, to not only make the playoffs, but become a contender in the AFC? Because defensively, you have the foundation with Robert Saleh.
I think we all know the answer. And I don't know what we're waiting on. I think we're waiting on confirmation from Aaron Rodgers to say he's playing football for sure next season and he's open to the possibility of going to another team. Once that happens, I believe the wheels will start turning and the Jets will start making moves. Because right now, I think that's what's holding them back from either signing Derek Carr or moving on to other options. They want to know what Aaron Rodgers' plans are. And that is ultimately the right decision to do, to figure out what the hell this guy's doing. It's rough. It's tough because, you got to sit on your hands for a while and you're letting things go by because another team might scoop your insurance plan up. But Aaron Rodgers is the only thing that's going to turn this Jets team around. And while last season, I'll be honest with you, I didn't agree with the benching of Zach Wilson. The more I think about it, I didn't agree with it. After the New England game, prior to that game, the Jets were playing winning football. Zach Wilson was not lighting the world on fire, but they were playing winning football with him as their quarterback. The Breece Hall injury absolutely hurt them. But that New England game shattered Zach Wilson's confidence when they benched him. After that, when they benched him, it was, I guess, really defeating for him. I honestly believe that had they rolled with Zach Wilson the rest of the season, one, they would have had a better shot at making the playoffs, and two, you'd have more clarity on what exactly Zach Wilson can be in the NFL. It's looking like Zach Wilson will probably still be in the Jets organization, but if you really want to win, if you really see yourself as a contender, if you see yourself as a potential Super Bowl team with this elite defense, Zach Wilson cannot be your guy. You have to get Aaron Rodgers in the building, and that'll instantly elevate the Jets to probably, I would say, the best team in the AFC East.
That's yeah. Listen. So I had some conversations last night too. When I was watching the fights, one of the guys happens to be a Jets fan. Shout out Tommy. Always we have a fun thing where when we give a handshake, high elbows, always with Tommy, high elbows. I don't know, it's just funny. But so I asked him, Rodgers or Carr, and he said he wanted Derek Carr over Rodgers. And both my brothers actually said that if Rodgers came to the Jets and came to the AFC, he'd be the third best quarterback in that conference, behind Mahomes, and they said Burrow. Now I said I'm not putting putting Burrow over Rodgers because Rodgers had one down season where he was dealing with 3 or 4 separate injuries at one point. A lot of change in the offense, no number one receiver, yada yada yada, injuries on the O-line. You know the details. Before that, he was a back-to-back MVP. So, I think that they're looking at just the longevity of, first off, they don't want to be in this bubble with Aaron Rodgers where he kind of controls his own fate and destiny, kind of like what Brett Favre did. And they look at Derek Carr and they say, well, Derek gives us more of a confirmation, I guess you would say, more trust in Derek Carr to really know that he's going to be there. So that's where I think they come from. But again, like Justin has said, if a guy like Aaron Rodgers is on the trade market or on the free agency market, whichever, you you take your shot because those guys don't come available. Like a Tom Brady in free agency doesn't come available. Right? A Peyton Manning doesn't come available. Those things don't usually happen. So when they do, you take your shot. And like Justin said, the Broncos do not regret it. The Bucs do not regret it. You go get an Aaron Rodgers. You take your shot. 1 or 2 years with Aaron Rodgers is better than 4 or 5 with Derek Carr. I'm just telling you that right now. This is what I'm going to say. If the New York Jets believe they are a quarterback away, you go get Aaron Rodgers. Plain and simple.
I think, Brandon, the Jets now are what the Broncos thought they were last offseason. Garrett Wilson is an emerging superstar. Had 1,100 yards with 3 different quarterbacks, none of which upper echelon. The defense with Quinn Williams, they're at the pay soon. Sauce Gardner on a rookie contract. DJ Reed, who they signed as their second corner. Man, it's special. And they did that with the burden of an offense that, first the Patriots in the second half of that matchup was getting negative yards. They couldn't move the football without Breece Hall. And I've seen a lot of parallels to when they acquired Brett Favre back in 2008, right? Because Rodgers and Favre, the 2 greatest quarterbacks arguably in Packers history, both 39 years old, great careers. I think Favre had 3 MVPs, Rodgers has 4. And that Jets team started off the year. Justin, you've talked about this multiple times on the show. After back-to-back wins versus the Titans and the Patriots with 8 wins to 3 losses. But with Breece Hall, there's just another dimension to this Jets offense. You're not going to get early in the year, right? He tore his ACL early in the second month. But by the end of the season, Breece Hall is such a freak, and he was going to win the Rookie of the Year offensively if he didn't get hurt, that by the end of the season, if you add in Aaron Rodgers, everything the Jets have is almost everything he needs. The only thing they lack is a left tackle. Mekhi Becton can't stay healthy. I don't know if he will be able to if he cuts some weight, because he just last 3 years has struggled with that. If you can find a left tackle in the 3rd round who will at least stay healthy, because I'll be honest, I don't trust Dwayne Brown at almost 40 years old.
How much cap space they got, John?
It's a great question. According to my data, they have about negative $4 million in cap space and $2 million in dead money.
Oh, okay. I thought they would have a lot more. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And my point is going to be invalid. I was saying if they had the cap space, because I was expecting them to have it, because they didn't know they were paying that many people that much money. You get Rodgers, and then maybe if you have enough money left over, Orlando Brown is out there, but that's a moot point at this point. They don't got the money for that. But yeah, so my question now to you guys is, what we all agree, I think, you go get Aaron Rodgers if you're the Jets. What do the Jets have to give up for Aaron Rodgers? I think the price starts at bare minimum 2 first-round picks. Bare minimum. I don't expect it to be just 2 firsts.
The Jets would have to give up the same package the Broncos gave up last year for Russell Wilson, which was 2 firsts, 2 seconds, defensive tackle and Shelby Harris, a little bit older, and then also a couple of extra picks, day 3, and also former top 10 pick and Noah Fant. I don't think the Jets have to give up many players, maybe 1, but you're gonna have to give up at least.
Yeah,
2
I don't see anybody maybe they part ways with to give to them on the team. But yeah, I could see 2 firsts. It's going to be a steep price, man. What do you think, Justin?
It's a steep price, especially when you don't know how long the guy's going to play. It's rough. But if you get verbal commitment and you get him to sign a contract, well, he's already has a big deal. But if you have him for 2-3 years, I think you go out there and you throw as many draft picks as you need to.
Well, I think he's got 2 years left.
Young,
if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, give it up. If the Jets believe they're quarterback away, you go get Rodgers.
Now, here's one thing I'd be remiss if I didn't mention. Brian, you asked how much cap space the Jets had, and I told you they really have none. And the good news is that they can clear up upwards to $40 million by cutting players or at least restructuring players. Great example, CJ Mosley, who they invest a lot of money into. Corey Davis, Dwayne Brown, Jordan Whitehead, even Carl Lawson, who came back last year off his torn ACL, all those free agents they signed at the start of the Salah era, they can restructure those deals, and maybe they cut bait with Corey Davis, and
Yeah.
now they're opening upwards to $30 million
Probably.
to make a pretty big splash. But you have to keep in mind, a lot of that money is going to Quentin Williams. That boy, he's got to get his money. I mean, he was arguably the best defensive tackle in football this last year. I think he was personally.
You heard that, Justin? He's got to
He
get his
deserves
money, all right?
Yeah, I'd pay that, man. Aaron Rodgers knows.